Welcome, everyone. Thanks so much for coming out to this inaugural conference. And I'd like to also express my gratitude to Delia for putting this together. She's, I think, a great testament to the expression of work with great people and just get out of their way, because this is a testament to what she can do when one gets out of her way. So thanks so much, Delia. I think it's probably fitting to acknowledge what is, I think, on many people's minds, which is the recent tragedy in Uvalde, and of course following just the tragedy in Buffalo. So if we can just give a moment of silence for those who have suffered from the tragedy of gun violence, I think that would be appropriate. And in many ways, it's moments like we're suffering now, I think, where we really can appreciate the importance of art and the ability to express emotions and frustrations that we can't properly articulate verbally. And so we turn to this amazing medium that we're capable of producing. I'm excited about the program today. I'm excited to learn. This is not an area that I know very much about. And so I'm appreciative to all of the speakers and guests for contributing to what I think will be a very exciting day of learning and conversation. I'd like to introduce Udine Vara, who's the General Counsel of SF MoMA, who has made this wonderful event possible in this venue. So without further ado, please welcome Udine. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Can you all hear me? Good afternoon. My name is Udine Vara, and I'm General Counsel for the San Francisco Museum of Modern Art. I also co-teach art and the law with one of your speakers this afternoon, Simon Frankel. Welcome to our museum. We're so happy to have all of you here. I know we're here for a law conference, but I thought it would be helpful, since I'm here as your host at SF MoMA, to make sure we start off with a little bit of art and a bit of context for our discussions. And while art and finance regularly outpace the law, the questions that we wrestle with today are in many ways not new ones. We're going to hear today about cutting-edge technologies and new methods of sale. But many of the fundamental questions about what is art and what's being sold on the market and how it's being valued are questions that artists featured in our collection and on our walls have been raising for years. Next slide. Next slide, please. Next slide. Let's go back in time, more than 100 years, to see what envelopes were being pushed then. I selected this painting, Femme à Chapeau, Woman with a Hat, from 1905, by Henri Matisse, a gem in SF MoMA's collection, because it was radical in its time for its wild use of color, and is credited in part with what an art critic phrase called fauve, or wild beasts. It's interesting to see what this piece, although it was radical at the time, is really not controversial at all today. And it's going to be interesting to see 100 years from now what we think of NFTs, or if we think of them at all. Next. When just a few years later, when Marcel Duchamp entered this fountain, a ready-made porcelain urinal, with an added signature of R. Mutt and date, 1917, it was a bit of a scandal and a little bit of a practical joke. He submitted it into the Society of Independent Artists because it was a show that had a rule that they would accept all submissions. And although that was the rule, they didn't display it because they didn't consider it to be a work of art. This piece is also featured in our collection. It's one of the pieces that calls into question, what is art? Is it art because the artist signed it or says it's so? Is it art because it's placed in a museum? Next slide. But what if the art object that one owns isn't really an object at all? Flanking the walls of our Schwab Hall on the second floor is a beautiful Sol LeWitt mural of wall drawing called Loopy Doopy. When you own a Sol LeWitt, you don't own a physical work at all. You own the instructions on how to execute the work, and executing the work must be done by the Sol LeWitt estate authorized artists. And LeWitt works also come with a certificate of authenticity, a critical piece to have for these works, as well as other types of modern and contemporary works, not only for our museum records, but also if these works are sold on the market. In fact, one Sol LeWitt piece, wall drawing 448, was the subject of a lawsuit where a Chicago art dealer, Rona Hoffman, lost the certificate of authenticity, and the gallery's insurance refused to cover the resulting loss. The owner, Roderick Steinkamp, sued, saying that because of the unique nature of Sol LeWitt works, if you lose that certificate of authenticity, it guts the value of the work. So without it, is it still really a Sol LeWitt in the market? Next. Speaking of the market, artists have always been aware that artwork is not just a means of expression, but it's also a material good for sale. Warhol's print of bills is a commentary on this aspect of art, of the art world, and it's a bit of a play on the concept of a license to print money. This work, entitled $201 Bills, sold for $43.8 million in 2009. Next slide. This image probably doesn't look very radical or unusual to any of us today. As technology evolves, we have works that were never physical to start with. They were born in a digital format. This piece from our Snap and Share exhibition is the first photograph. It's dated 1997, and it's the first photograph shared instantly through a digital camera, cell phone, and server with 2,000 people. It's the daughter of the photographer. Next. So what happens then when you're not even really buying a physical work? Is an artist NFT really more like a coat check claim, or is it a work of art? Or is it just another mechanism for sale? Next. NFTs have become increasingly prominent in the art world, including at SF MoMA. This spring, we auctioned this Lynn Hirschman-Leeson NFT of a film clip featuring Tilda Swinton. We don't know where the new works or the new technology will lead, or how the law or how art history will ultimately treat this period of NFTs and other similar technology. But we look forward to opening the door and discussing these works and issues with you today. I also encourage you to take some time to enjoy our galleries and our art while you're here. It's always good to mix a little bit of art with law. Thank you.